While I devote most of my content here to low-tech games, it doesn't mean that I cannot talk about some more high-tech topics here. I was asked to explain the rapid-fire rules in GURPS, so this is exactly what this video is going to be about. Everything about rapid-fire. These rules can come up in low-tech games too, due to the existence of magic and blunderbusses. I haven't played many systems for high-tech games other than GURPS, but whatever systems I did play had very unsatisfactory rapid-fire rules. I still remember that when I was reading the GURPS basic set for the first time, I was surprised to see such elegant rapid-fire rules that just make sense. Most of the rules can be found on pages 373 and 374, and sometimes they are enough. But as always with GURPS, there are many special cases and rules that might come up, and some of them are only present in other books. I hope I will cover everything here. All ranged weapons have two statistics that are important to rapid-fire attacks: rate of fire and recoil. For example, Heckler & Koch MP5K has rate of fire 15 and recoil 2. Rate of fire indicates how many projectiles it can fire per second normally, and recoil measures how controllable the weapon is when firing multiple shots. The lower the recoil, the better. Recoil 1 means that the weapon is recoilless. If a weapon has a rate of fire of 2 or more, then you decide how many shots you fire before you make your attack roll. Your attack roll gets a bonus based on the chosen rate of fire as per the following table. If your attack roll is successful, then you score at least one hit. An attack scores one extra hit for every full multiple of recoil, by which you make your attack roll. Obviously, you cannot score more hits than the number of shots you fired. If an opponent tries to dodge your attack, a successful dodge roll lets him avoid one hit, plus additional hits equal to his margin of success. A critical success lets him dodge all hits. While typically you cannot parry or block bullets, sometimes you can, and the rules for that do not say anything about rapid-fire attacks. Douglas Cole mentions on the forums that they should work identically to dodge. That's the basic, and most of the time they are enough. Some people have issues with the rapid-fire bonus to hit table, and suggest replacing it with a normal size, speed and range table. Some even suggest using the size modifier table. If you'd like to see more about such house rules, check the links in the description. I have also seen people complain that recoil is not granular enough and suggest introducing fractional recoil. If you want to do that, go ahead, you will not break anything at all. It's also unclear how this interacts with hit locations. By default, all your shots go to the same hit locations, and the ones that miss just miss. They don't have a chance to hit a different hit location instead. To see some rulings about that, yet again, check the links in the description. Another question that often pops up is, but what if my character is very strong? He should be able to hold the gun steady enough to nullify all recoil. The answer is no. Recoil does not have anything to do with that in GURPS. Chrome explains this on the forums, and I will also link this post in the description. Now there are some special rules that have to be covered. If you have a weapon capable of rapid fire, you might want to attack multiple targets at once, right? You can do that in multiple different ways in GURPS. The first one is spraying fire. All targets must be within a 30-degree angle, and you must have a weapon with rate of fire 5+. First, choose the direction of engagement, from left to right or from right to left. Then announce how many shots you will fire at each target. If the targets are more than 1 yard apart, then you will also waste some shots. For rate of fire 16 or less, you lose 1 shot for each yard between targets. For any higher rate of fire, you lose 2 shots per yard. These shots still may hit unintended targets. Roll to hit each target separately, with a separate effective rate of fire bonus for each one. Your weapon is harder to control, so your effective recoil is increased by 1 for your second target, by 2 for your third target, and so on. I would show you an example, but the basic set already has one and it's pretty good, give it a read. The second option is suppression fire. Just like spraying fire, this one requires a weapon with rate of fire 5 or higher. You do not try to hit anyone, you just hose down an area with fire. This will affect anyone, friend or foe, who enters the area before the start of your next turn. The area must be 2 yards across at some point within your weapon's range. Suppression fire is an all-out attack maneuver that takes the entire second. You can do nothing else this turn. Just like before, you should specify how many shots you are firing. If your weapon has rate of fire 10 or higher, then you can suppress multiple 2-yard zones, as long as they are adjacent and you fire at least 5 shots into each one. Your effective rate of fire for each zone depends on how many shots you fire into them. Once anyone enters the zone or a swath that extends 1 yard to either side of a line drawn from you to the center of the zone, you roll to attack, applying all normal penalties except the target visibility penalties. Yes, you even apply bonuses you get from aiming. However, there is a catch. Your final effective skill cannot exceed 6 plus your rapid fire bonus, or 8 plus your rapid fire bonus for vehicle or tripod mounted weapons. You cannot target specific hit locations, you determine them randomly. Also, you cannot score more hits than the number of shots you fired, obviously. GURPS Tactical Shooting expands that maneuver on page 18, allowing you to use suppression fire in situations where you do not have a gun with rate of fire 5 or higher, but have multiple guns that provide this rate of fire combined. Effective skills are determined separately for each weapon and rolls to hit are made separately for each weapon. There is another option that was introduced on page 18 of GURPS Tactical Shooting and page 85 of GURPS High Tech, Ranged Rapid Strike. Just like the normal Rapid Strike, this one allows you to make 2 attacks, both at -6, if you have a weapon with rate of fire 2 or higher. You must divide your gun's rate of fire between the 2 attacks. Use the shots fired for each attack to calculate the rapid fire bonus. Just like spraying fire, this option requires the targets to be within a 30-degree angle. Also, this might be the same target, but 2 different hit locations. Unlike the normal rapid strike, this -6 penalty can be bought off with a quick shot technique. That's already a lot to digest, but do you know that even if 2 weapons have the same rate of fire on the table, they might act differently? For that, you'll have to consult the description. And what about the exclamation mark and the number sign in the rate of fire column? What do they mean? Some weapons can only fire in the full auto mode. Such weapons have the exclamation mark after its rate of fire statistic. Minimum rate of fire for such weapons is 1/4 full rate of fire, rounded up. Some other weapons have a burst limiter that only lets you fire a fixed number of shots per pull of the trigger. This is not indicated in the stat line, check the description. You cannot use spraying fire if you have a burst limiter, and can fire only up to 3 bursts per attack. GURPS High Tech introduced high cyclic controlled bursts on page 83. Weapons that are able to fire high cyclic controlled bursts can fire bullets so quickly that the bullets exit the barrel before the recoil affects the user. Such weapons have a number sign after rate of fire. High cyclic controlled bursts work as limited bursts I talked about before, but shots fired in this mode have effective recoil 1. Also, you cannot use suppression fire. You should know that these rules appeared only in GURPS High Tech, which was released after GURPS Ultra Tech, so none of the Ultra Tech weapons can fire high cyclic controlled bursts, even if their description mentions something similar. However, there is a blog post that backports these rules to Ultra Tech. The link is in the description. But did you know that sometimes you can fire more shots than your rate of fire indicates? For single action revolvers, you can perform fanning, thumbing, or two-handed thumbing. For any semi-automatic weapon with rate of fire 3 that does not have a burst limiter, you can also increase the rate of fire by performing fast firing. I will not describe the mechanics, I will just point to where you can find them. Is that all? No, there are some other considerations. The first one is rapid fire versus close stationary targets. If your target is totally immobile and has a size modifier high enough to completely counteract the range penalty, a successful attack roll means that half the shots fired hit, rounded up. If the attack succeeds by the weapon recoil or more, all the shots hit. Finally, shotguns use the rapid-fire rules even if they are not rapid-fire weapons. The rules are described on page 409. There are some other things to keep in mind. First, rapid-fire is incompatible with area attacks and cone attacks. Yes, some weapons in GURPS Ultratech deliver area attacks and have high rate of fire, but the rules do not support that. Second, some magical effects such as imbuement skills can give an increased rate of fire to weapons that do not have a recoil statistic, muscle-powered or thrown weapons. The fix for that can be found on page 27 of Pyramid 360. Use recoil 1 for weapons with bulk 0 to -2, recoil 2 for weapons with bulk -3 or -4, recoil 3 for weapons with bulk -5 or -6, and so on. Increase recoil by 2 for weapons that deal swing damage. Finally, did you know that there is rapid fire and there is also very rapid fire? This enhancement was introduced in GURPS Power-Ups 4 enhancements. It works like rapid fire, but you get 2 extra hits per point by which you make your attack roll. You cannot do sprain fire or suppression fire, but when using rapid fire versus close stationary targets, any success means that all shots hit. I don't think any guns use these rules, they are only for powers. But maybe they should be used for beam weapons? Who knows? Anyway, that's all I wanted to say here. Thank you for watching and make sure to check the description, there are many links there.